Check this out. There's a whole lot of people out there that were talking about RVs being banned, and they are not. Not only that, California had to roll back the legislation. Hang out here with me on this episode of Unscripted, and I'm gonna tell you why.
When he speaks from the heart and tells it like it is, we call that unscripted. Welcome to Unscripted from Hanging with the Hazes.
What is happening, y'all? How are you doing? Yeah, you know I like to groove out a little bit before we talk, but this right here is so important. This is an update to the whole California deal, right? And you remember in my last podcast, I talked about how it was a lie. So what happened? All of these guys jumped on this bandwagon. Oh my God, they're banning RVs in California. The RV industry is gonna collapse. Listen, I'm telling you, that was the biggest line of that there was. It's not. They never were banning anything. So let me tell you what happened. California put some legislation in effect to tell manufacturers that they had to produce a significant portion of their inventory as electric or non-carbon emitting vehicle. That's what it was. And it was over like a 10 or 15 year period. And all of these guys on YouTube and Facebook and everywhere else started posting all of this propaganda. They're banning RVs. Listen, that was a lie. It has been a lie. It was never the case. That is not what happened. Here's the good news about all of it. The good news is California, as of January 14th, because our information was backwards. I just researched it. As of the 14th of January, they abandoned every single one of those diesel truck clean air initiatives before Donald Trump got in office. You heard it. They abandoned them. And they abandoned them because they knew beyond a shadow of a doubt. Yes, you know what I'm talking about. They abandoned them because they knew that the legislation wasn't gonna fly. So they abandoned it before he was sworn in. Now, Cal Matters is a nonprofit newsroom that covers issues that affects all of California. And they said specifically, and I quote, California has decided to abandon its groundbreaking regulations, phasing out diesel trucks and requiring cleaner locomotives. Here is the reason why. Because the incoming Trump administration is unlikely to allow the state to implement them. Listen, this is going to peeve a lot of people, but there are a lot of you that might not like our president. Yeah, I don't care. This is not one side of the political bandwagon or the other. The bottom line is this. It's not going to happen. He wasn't going to let it happen. We need to thank God that he wasn't going to let it happen, because this was going to upset not only California, but it could have destabilized the entire RV industry. Now, the Biden-era administration approved a California Air Resources Board Act mandating phasing out new gas-powered cars, not RVs, by 2035. Here is what happened. When they approved that, they did not get the waiver, and I talk about that in the other podcast. They did not get the waiver for diesel fuel vehicle standards in. It wasn't in and done before Biden left office. And because of that, our president, Donald Trump, has threatened, you listen to me now, to revoke or challenge all zero emission rules in California. That means anybody who is piggybacking and following the California ordinances for this, they're not going to be able to do it. Washington, Oregon, Massachusetts, the various other states that were talking about doing it, they can't do it now. So if you live in those states that were following California, you're off the hook. Let me tell you what it says. California has withdrawn its pending waiver and authorization request that the U.S. EPA, they did not act on it, and they did that, and here's what they say. While we are disappointed that the United States EPA was unable to act on all of the requests in time, listen, California and tree huggers in California might have been upset, but the rest of America that had to deal with this foolishness behind a state that they don't even live in, they weren't upset. They were not upset at all. Now, the withdrawal is an important step given to the uncertainty presented by the incoming administration that previously attacked California's programs to protect public health and the climate and has said will continue to oppose these programs. Listen, whether you like him or not, I'm going to say thank you, Donald Trump administration, for preventing California from ruining people's lives. Yeah, every environmentalist out there was distressed. You know what? If you're that distressed, pay more taxes and you put the money up to make sure that Americans have the clean energy stuff that you want us to have. I want to see you putting, where are the billionaires that back this? Why are you not putting money up to make it happen? Because you know that financially it is an impossible thing to do. So, that being said, the truck fleet rule that was approved in 2022 after they say so-called years of analysis, that would have been an attempt to end diesel strongholds on goods movements through the states with potentially profound effects on the state's environment and the economy. And here's the thing, and I said this before, and now I can prove it beyond a shadow of a doubt. Trucking companies already sued California to stop the measure. So remember I said if they weren't going to do it, it was coming? Well, they already sued California to stop that, saying that electric and hydrogen big rigs are simply not practical for long-haul uses and it would destroy the state's economy. But the reality is this: not only would it destroy the state's economy, it would have destroyed the economies of Arizona, Nevada, Oregon, Washington State, New Mexico, and possibly Texas, because a huge portion of their goods depend on coming through California. California Trucking Station, they have consistently stated that the advanced clean fleets rule was simply not achievable, and it's not. To further reduce emissions in a technologically feasible and cost-effective manner would have been an astronomical cost, and it would have destroyed the nation's supply chains coming out of California. So they tried to say that diesel exhaust had been linked to cancer and contains fine particles that trigger asthma. Yeah. So does the trees outside. Are we going to get rid of all those trees that create issues for people? So let me get off that bandwagon. The state withdrew 3 other measures regarding emissions from diesel powers. So they're not going to mess with locomotives. They are not going to mess with commercial boats and hovercrafts. And then refrigeration unit engines that are hauled by trucks. All of those measures that they had tried to lump into this, boom, gone, no more. So now, all of these people out there that were talking about the ban and then jumped on the bandwagon of banning RVs, I am telling you, Crazy Keon, you set off a panic that was unnecessary. In other words, you told a bald-faced lie, and this just exposed it. A, they were not banning RVs. 2, they could not do it because it was physically impossible. And you guys did a disservice to the people by putting that information out there. And you knew it wasn't true. You didn't do your research. And that's disappointing. That's just, it's an atrocity. It is an absolute. Now, let me just kind of say where this goes from this point. California may have suspended any future rulemaking at this point, at least over the next 4 years. So we know nothing is going to happen over the next 4 years. Depending on what the next administration does, whether they are liberal or conservative, if they get the right liberal, let's say they make it, it still may not go forward because there are liberals that understand that the bottom line is the dollar. And they're going to do whatever they can to protect, I guess you can say, recreation at this point as a whole, because after they deal with RVs and big trucks, you don't think they're coming after boats? And it's a whole lot of rich liberals that's got boats that use diesel fuel. They're not going to mess with that. They're not going to do it. So basically, they're going to suspend any type of future rulemaking over the next 4 years, and the Trump administration, and then rely on voluntary agreements with engine manufacturers, trucking companies, railroad, and other industries. And if every last one of those industries got any good sense, they're going to tell California, up yours. No, we're not going to do it because the people can't afford it. Because at the end of the day, if they confirm or comply with California's emissions, you know who ends up paying for that? Me, you, and everybody else that buys goods. And we can't afford it. We're getting out of a situation that we cannot afford it. Now, to kind of sort of back my information even more, the truck fleet rule would have affected about 1.8 million medium and heavy duty trucks on California roads. Now, you want to know how it hits your pocket directly? It would have included every delivery truck for the most part from FedEx, UPS, Amazon. And even though they talked about the high cost of zero emissions vehicles, here's the bigger problem. Where in the Sam Hill are they going to charge these? Because the infrastructure for charging is not like the infrastructure for fueling with diesel and gasoline. It ain't there. So if it ain't there for us as regular car drivers, how do you think that this is going to work for somebody that's bringing us our goods? Like, where the heck do you think the car came from? Some companies like Pepsi, they've already rolled out electric and hydrogen fleets, but Pepsi Cola got the money to do that. And they got so much money because of the size of their product that we only feel smidgens of it. But when UPS, which is only a smidge the size of Pepsi Cola, has to do that, how do you think Pepsi Cola sometimes, or some of their products, their shirts, their merchandise, who delivers that? That's when they're going to start feeling it, and they're going to pass that on to us. Amazon does have some electric vehicles, electric vans, and we appreciate them for looking out for the environment. But they're in situations where they're short haul, there's not going to be too much of an issue, and they may be traveling 200-300 miles a day, and that's it. But when you start talking about going over that road 2,000 miles, if you think it takes forever to get a package to you now, imagine if they got to stop for 13 hours after only driving 5 hours to charge up a truck weighing 80,000 pounds. Come on now. Come on. I don't know what else to say. I mean, I'm glad that I was able to come out and tell you the truth. They are not banning RVs. They never were going to ban them. We already knew that the legislation wasn't going to go through. And I'm glad that we can now set the record straight and tell the truth. RVs are not, were not, and will not be banned. Even if they go through with some of these California things. It won't happen. And if you tell somebody that, you tell them you heard it right here. Crazy Keon, hanging with the Hazes. Make sure you subscribe, because I only do one thing. I tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth when it comes to RVing and when it comes to camping. Make sure you like and subscribe. We definitely want to share with you on a regular basis. Make sure you check us out. I'm out of here, turning it over to my man, Funky Skunk. Take it away, my man.
Be sure to join us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and you can always catch us on Facebook and YouTube. Hanging with the Hazes.